Hey everybody, welcome to the Song Revolution podcast, brought to you by Nashville Christian Songwriters. Nashville Christian Songwriters exists to empower Christian songwriters worldwide. I'm John Chisum, and this podcast exists to bring you valuable songwriting insights, inspiration, interviews, and just all around good fun with some of the greatest songwriters, producers, arrangers, artists, and creatives, and beyond. You can find out a whole lot more about us at NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com.
Hey, have you ever felt like contemporary Christian music was shallow and fake and maybe watered down the gospel? Have you been critical of some of the radio networks that always seem to be positive and uplifting, and you've wondered, where did Jesus go in all of this? Well, I have a great show for you today. I just sat down with Mike Donehey and Jeff Owen, 2/3 of 10th Avenue North, and we got into some deep topics around shame, pornography, secrets, regrets. It was just a deep conversation that I think you're going to want to hear today. Before we get there, though, I want to just thank the great folks over at Nashville Christian Songwriters for sponsoring the Song Revolution. And I want to encourage you to jump over to Nashville Christian Songwriters right now to check out all the great resources that they have available to encourage you in your songwriting journey, especially the NCS membership, which offers a monthly live masterclass with great guests, great teaching to encourage you to take the next right step in your songwriting. They have great articles, other videos, and resources that you just don't want to miss out on. Thanks for being here on the show today. I think you're going to really enjoy Mike and Jeff, 10th Avenue North. All right, we've got Mike Donehey and Jeff Owen, 2 of 3, 10th Avenue North, right?
2 of 3.
2 of 3. 66 points.
Ruben doesn't speak.
2/3. Yeah, thanks for being here. It is so exciting to have you guys on the show and to dig in a little bit to the music and the ministry and just the heart behind what you guys are doing. And I always try to really study, when I'm walking into these so I don't make an idiot of myself. And so I've been listening to a great podcast and reading articles on you guys, and I'm real excited to get into. You make all this great music, but there's a lot more behind that. So excited to get into that today. You guys have a whole lot going on, a new record that's just released. Mike, You've got a book. So how are you guys dealing with all that's going on, touring and books, and how's your life? How's the real life?
What's funny is when stuff releases, right after that is actually the least busy time in some respect, because we've been writing and recording a record, and I've been writing this book and doing all the interviews and stuff leading up to it. And then, so actually it may appear that we're quite busy right now, but it's actually pretty chill.
Yeah. I know you guys have been through a big shift in the last year or so. You want to talk a little bit about that? Family is just a real priority for you guys.
I have a strange habit on my birthday. I look up top 10 regrets of the dying.
Yeah.
It's look up articles from hospice nurses about what people actually regret at the end of their life. And a couple of years ago, we were in a pretty bad spot. Just so busy because we had huge band, all these salaries, and in order to get everyone to have a living, we're just gone all the time. And so we kind of made this dramatic shift of families first. And our drummer left the band after being in it for 18 years and got a job with Compassion. So he is our artist rep for Compassion, which is pretty awesome. And our piano player left, and in the name of wanting to get off the road completely. And so we have a pretty hard line now of just going, this is how many shows we're going to do. And we'll do it as long as we can survive on that. And then if we can't, then we'll just quit.
I think Walmart needs greeters always, and so there's other stuff to do.
There's way, I don't know. I fell into the temptation as a young man starting a family, and then realizing, people don't destroy their family life on purpose. It's you got them both going on, both going on, and you just don't realize how far the gap is.
Yeah,
it's just getting wider and wider because the more you succeed in your career, the more it demands of you, almost.
It's true. And you have 4 girls, right?
Yes, pray for me.
And a wife. And
I do have
trying
a
to
wife.
hang on to all that.
And a female
touring.
dog in the house.
Oh,
So it's
yeah. Wow.
6
Wow.
females.
Wow. What about you, Jeff? Kids?
Yeah, it's kind of even. My dog is male. My wife is female. Do I need to establish that? Yeah, I've got 2 kids. My oldest my boy is 8. My daughter's 6. So it's all happening. But yeah, with the family thing, you know what? Heather and I had a great conversation just a few days ago of realizing through another conversation. My therapist was telling me this story about him and his wife's argument, and I came to this reality of his desire in the moment was the same as mine in this other argument that Heather and I had gotten into, that my deepest desire is to provide and protect my family. And in the name of that, you often, like you said, Mike, it's not like you set out to destroy your family. Like you just want to work and you want to do and you want to provide and you want to provide. But in reality, what they're longing for is your presence and your aroundness, you know?
Yeah. And so, Mike, even in your new book, I mean, you kind of unpack a lot of that. The book, great title, Finding God's Life for My Will. His presence is the plan. Great title, man. But in the book, you even unpack that people would look at you now, right? And 10th Avenue North and say you're living the dream, but this wasn't even your dream to start with, was it?
Nope. No, as a kid, I wanted to be a basketball star until I reached my formidable 5'8" frame. I realized that might not be in the cards. And, and then I wanted to be a theater major, and God just kept putting roadblocks in the way. And I almost died in a near fatal car accident in my senior high school. And, but that actually led me to starting to play the guitar. And then I got to college and was trying to be in all these plays as a theater major, and I kept getting turned down for roles. But yet every time I got on stage, people would ask me to come and sing and do stuff. And I felt like I was terrible at music. And it felt like God just kept throwing doors open for music, but kept shutting the ones where I thought I was good at. And there's this really good St. Augustine quote. It says something to the effect of, God's always trying to give us good things, but our hands are too full to receive them. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of us, we clench down on the way our dreams have to go. And God's redirecting us. So in the book, I liken it to Monsters University. Did you see that one? A lot of people saw Monsters, Inc. Did you see? You know Monsters University, right?
Yeah. It wasn't as good as the original, though.
What? I thought it was better. Yeah. I thought it was better. But I love how Mike Wazowski is he's going to be a scare. He's just flat out not scary. And he ends up on the scare floor, but not in the capacity that he had dreamed for himself. So going after your dreams, but it's like Walter Payton running back for the Bears, called The Sweetness. They interviewed him why he didn't ever got tackled. And he said, because when he gets hit, he didn't resist the tackle. He went with it. And he was able to keep his footing because he's just rolling with the punches, as it were.
Wow. It's a good illustration.
Yeah, man. And I think the thing because I wrote the book because kids would always come up to me, and I think as someone on stage, people just think there was this revelatory divine moment when God said, "This is the way that your life will go from now on." And it's not that God doesn't do that for some people. Sure, he does. But for me, it's been a lot more of your word is a lamp unto my feet, not a floodlight for my interstate, is what I say.
Right.
And so people go, when did you know being in this band was God's will for your life? And I said, I don't. And they're like, what? I said, I'm not coming to God for what he's going to do for me. I'm coming to God for what he's going to do in me. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do. Yeah, and he did a lot in you when you were lying flat on your back for 2 months after the car wreck. I do have a question about that.
Yeah.
A couple of questions. One is you said in a couple of interviews I've listened to that your ear was ripped off So did they put it back on?
It was
You still-
dangling. My whole face was ripped open, and like the top plastic surgeon on the East Coast was like doing an interim time at the hospital, and it happened to be on call.
Wow.
So they were like, "You got," not that someone else would have made you look like a monster or anything, but I got
Yeah.
like the best possible person.
Well, you look
sewing me up.
dashing. I mean, I just have to say.
Mike used to look like a frog until that accident.
So he improved? Is that
He improved.
That's what you're
Slightly.
saying? So, but that's when you became interested in the guitar.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? Because out of the blue,
Well, I was laying on my back for
right?
7 weeks, something like that. And so I just got really bored. And I'd always kind of wanted to learn how to play guitar, but just was always too busy for it. Played too many sports. And it was just laying on my back for 2 months. I finally went, yeah, this would be a great skill to have, especially in a moment like this when I have nothing else to do. So I started playing guitar a little bit after that.
But somewhere along the line, theater was it's like you're just this crazy amalgam of all these different things, at least in childhood. So
I know.
So where did the theater piece come in?
I think the theater piece for me came from I was a middle child, and so my parents were always making me entertain their guests.
Right.
So, I mean, I remember even as a little kid, I was walking around being Steve Urkel from Family Matters. Like, did I do that? And just doing all kinds of impressions. I don't know. I just always loved to pretend to be someone I wasn't, I guess.
Went on to be a theater major and now using that in the Decade the Halls. Are you going to be repeating that or was that a one-time?
Oh, it has
Tour.
been a repeating
It's
thing.
a thing now.
It is
is
a
a
thing.
A
Yeah,
thing. We dress up.
Jeff produced that record called Decade the Halls.
We
Which
had fun with it.
I think the idea, it's those of you listening don't know, we did a Christmas record called Decade the Halls, and we have a show that goes along with it where we costume changes and everything. We time travel through the decades of Christmas music.
On the record, yeah, it's 10 songs. Every song is a different decade, starting in the 20s.
Yeah.
And so we were like, we gotta play this thing, and we gotta dress up to do it.
Very cool.
I think I have 12 costumes though, somehow. Oh, it's because we do like that acoustic set when we do like Christmas sweaters.
Yeah.
So it's one costume. And then I have a Santa outfit I wear for no good reason at one point.
So that'll be touring again here 2019 and
Yep.
It is, yeah.
awesome.
Already got some dates on the calendar.
That's great. It's great.
It's a fun time.
Now, how did you guys connect and how long have you been doing the band thing with this guy?
Well, Mike, you had started the band in the year 2000. And when did I come along? 2007?
It was December of 2006.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We actually did a show called the Hello Goodbye Show. Do you remember this?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
At a place called
Harriet.
the Harriet Himmel
Yeah.
Theater.
I think so.
City Place in West Palm Beach, where the guys who were in the band were leaving, and Jeff was coming in. So we did half the show with Jeff, which was the hello portion. So we did the new songs that we were writing with Jeff, and then the goodbye section was the older songs with the other guys.
Yeah. We met in Florida
Cool.
at the church you guys were working at, and I was volunteering.
And the university, Palm Beach Atlantic.
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to go back to school, but that didn't work out. Joined a band instead.
And here you are.
Here I am.
He knew everything he needed to know.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and then we met Ruben on a canoeing trip. We needed a new bass player. Golly, 11 years ago, 12 years ago. And yeah, my wife was friends with him because he was friends with somebody else. So we're like, we needed a bass player. She said, remember that guy Ruben that went canoeing with us that one time? Oh, yeah. And yeah, no looking back.
No looking back. New records, new books, Christmas tour, the whole ball of wax, man. You're living the life. So
The whole ball of
I
wax.
guess. I like when you say things like that because it helps me appreciate what's happening.
it seems like as I've listened and researched you that you as a band and you as an individual, it seems like you've connected into something that's deeper than just making music. There's something that is driving you from a heart standpoint. You ended your book with a wonderful Buechner quote. Your calling is where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet. And your friend Chris Llewellyn in the Wren Collective, you quoted him as saying that your anointing, I'm not going to try to imitate his Irish accent. You do it well. You want to say it? Why don't you say it?
Your anointing. I can't remember what the whole quote
Your
is.
anointing is in lifting people's shame off their backs.
Oh.
And do you agree with that? I mean, is that kind of what you feel like you're doing?
Your anointing?
Your anointing is lifting shame off of people's box, Mike. Oh, that's right.
Box mic?
Box, Mike.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of
town.
We narrowed that down this record. The record's called No Shame. There's a song, No Shame. And it's like, what's our purpose? What's our calling? This is our 6th major release. So it's kind of like, what do we have left to say? You know, what's our role? And, what are we doing that is different or, our own compared to everyone else, what they're doing? Like, yeah, what's our calling?
Things become a lot clearer when you stop chasing popularity for popularity's sake and instead you try to chase your purpose. And I love that Frederick Buechner quote, because your calling is where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meets. So it's not enough to go, I love music. It's not enough. It's not enough to just say, what makes me come alive? That's half of it. You need to ask that. But then you need to pair it with, and how does it fill the hunger of the world? And so for us, it's like, we love music, okay, but to do it in a way that I have a unique, fiery burden in my heart. And I don't really know where it comes from. Maybe I need to dive into that more. But for people who have had a negative experience with the church or with religion and now feel kicked out. In the parable of the sower and the seeds, I love Jesus' parables. They get right to the heart of the matter. You got a guy and he's throwing out seeds, right? And some grow for a while and then they wither. Some grow for a while and they're choked out. Some never even go in the ground because it's hard and the birds come and eat it. And just as a bearer of good news, right? That's what we're all given, that beautiful privilege when we start following Jesus. It's like, I don't want to be a bird eating the seed off the hard ground. I want to be down on my hands and knees, whispering and watering the soil. Come on, baby. Come on. I feel like, isn't the gardener meant to be the pruner?
We're going to take just a quick break and talk about something that I think is going to be very valuable for you as a Christian songwriter. So check it out.
Do you feel like God's given you a bunch of songs, but you don't know what to do with them? Do you feel like you've got a real call on your life to write, but you're clueless about where to start? Or maybe you've got writer's block and you're wondering if you'll ever get the creative juices flowing again. Well, we've got you covered with NCS membership. NCS membership is all about community and how to grow in this calling you feel deep inside to be heard. We get it. We know that you just want to honor God with your talents and be a good steward of what He's given you. And that's why NCS membership could be your next right step to grow, learn, be challenged, get connected, and ultimately fulfill your dreams to glorify God and reach others with the same passion you feel. It's designed to help you tell your story and to reach listeners who will love your songs. With your NCS membership, you'll receive 24/7 access to valuable masterclasses on topics such as modern hymn writing, worship writing, song form, lyric development, and recording home demos, as well as discounts for other NCS products and a deep connection into a community of creatives who get you. There are a lot of songwriters out there, so you need to be the best you can be to stand out, be heard, and become the songwriter you were born to be. Just go to NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com now to check out all the great benefits of becoming part of a decidedly Christian community of songwriters from all over the world. NCS membership, your next right step to being heard.
Well, I just hope that you'll take advantage of that and check it out. All right? We bring you good stuff here on the Song Revolution podcast. So back to our episode.
It kind of reminds me of a story that you told on another show about the porn clock.
In my blog, I said, when I go on the road, I bring a digital alarm clock called my porn clock so that it's not an option for me because I try to leave my phone in a drawer instead of using the alarm on my phone, because if I go in my bunk, there's a potential that I could open it up and start looking at stuff. And so it was an encouragement to young dudes, hey man, or old dudes, or girls, or anybody, like, hey, if you foresee there could be a temptation, like, take preventative measures, right? And yeah, dude, people lit me up, and it reminded me even more of our mission as a band is trying to create safe places for people to actually admit their temptations, admit their weakness. And writing that blog, I was reminded again, oh yeah, this is why people don't like to share.
Yeah, right?
They like to share past tense struggles.
Exactly.
I struggled with that, and now I'm victorious.
Exactly.
But to invite people into the struggle, that's actually like requires intimacy and vulnerability. So we don't want to do that.
Yeah, and that's what we try to introduce in a lot of our music, of writing from vulnerable personal experience or places, so that we can just say, hey, I'm messed up just like you, trying to figure things out, and not write from this position of we have it all figured out, come rejoice. And I think a lot of people have those reactions like that because it triggers this insecurity about themselves, so they have to compensate and cover up whatever is going on in their heart.
Well, I think people want to follow people who are strong because they know how weak they are. So the last thing they want to hear is that even the people they follow are weak, because that's like that's disorienting. It's like, well, who shall be my shepherd? And Jesus is going, hey, me. The Israelites did the same thing. Like, give us a king, give us a king, give us a king. God's like, no, I want to be it. And that's what we do now with celebrities and with famous Christian people. Like, be our king. It's too scary without a king.
Right. And so artists, even in the Christian realm, wind up perpetuating what you've called a false reality.
Yeah.
That people can't tolerate it not being real.
They can't tolerate having broken kings. They're like, no, you need that. That's the
because they're not
best
supposed to be kings.
I know. That's the best analogy. And that's why Paul, this was so interesting. I have a chapter in my book about leaders and how I think we should ditch the word leader altogether. Because Paul says in 1 Corinthians, people are arguing. You a follower of Apollos? You a follower of Paul? Who you follow? Who's your pastor? You T.D. Jakes guy? You Joel Osteen guy? You John Piper guy? You John MacArthur guy? You a Bethel guy? You a Bill Johnson guy? You a Francis Chan guy? Who are you? Like, tell me your niche so I can know, am I in with you or
So
not?
true.
And Paul, it was going on in Paul's time. And Paul goes, I love what he says. He goes, don't call us leaders. 1 Corinthians 3, look it up. Do not call us leaders. Call us servants. And we're like, how about servant leader? It's like, we just can't bear to take the word leader out because leader appeals to our ego. That's the only way I can understand it. The reason we use the word leader is because it just feels good for the old pride.
So good. I love that idea of broken kings. Yeah, there's a title for you. I want to go back just for a minute because I don't want to move on too quickly from it. I think it's just too good when we were talking about unpacking shame and your calling and your collective calling, being to lift shame off of people's backs. And your last EP that came out in 2018, The Things We've Been Afraid to Say, it's amazingly vulnerable. And when you think, and I love the description of it as, let's see, you said, you're quoted as saying it was the band's first collection of songs of lament. I love that. Covering topics of casual sex, pornography, political outrage, hatred, shame, secrets, fear, and sexual abuse. And Even the song Secrets. I'm going to read a little bit of the lyric. Is that all right?
Good. Yeah, I love it.
It says, haven't we all loved things in the darkness? Haven't we all lied if we're honest? We cheat and cover up to protect what people think of us, but we end up hostage to all our secrets. That's kind of goes along with what we're talking about right here. So to even say those words seems so outside the normal, kind of Christian music lyric, right? It's not as positive and uplifting as most people, seem to want to be. So,
which is ironic because there's more songs of lament than psalms of thanksgiving or praise in the Psalms. I mean, yeah, almost all of them turn positive at the end, but there's something to be said for Psalm 62 says, pour your heart out before the Lord. It doesn't say filter all your thoughts and then present the nice ones. It's like, that's why David's, so many of the Psalms, not just David's Psalms, but they give humanity permission to be human, and I think sometimes with praise songs, we don't give people permission to be somewhere in between,
it's
where
true, isn't it?
our songs come out of Psalm 49, verse 4. David says, I listen to wisdom, and with the music of the lyre, I will solve my riddle. And I love that. He's like, I write songs to unriddle myself. So if you're unriddling yourself in a song, there's going to be some tension. There's going to be, this is what I think, but this is what God thinks. And here's how difficult it is to actually start agreeing with God and not myself.
I think with that EP, we took the risk of being a lot more specific about what we were singing about than before, because it seems like so many. Like
I'm in a storm. I've got mistakes.
Yeah, in counseling, like they would say that the first step to righting the wrong or changing yourself would be to identify and claim and own what the problem is. And it's almost like, with a lot of writing, it's like, I'm a sinner in generally speaking, and Jesus saves, and it's like, okay. But when you come to terms with like what you really are struggling with, that does a much greater work inside of you. And we have a song a long time ago, The Light Meets the Dark. Healing Begins is what it's called. And, it's like confessing about, is in James 5, confess your sins one to another. Look somebody in the eye here on this earth that encounters you regularly and confess your sin and you will be healed. And that's like, that's a different action than praying to God. Like, yes, your sin is forgiven through God, but you're healing your sanctification here on earth. It seems like that has a big role to do in it, much different.
So, Jeff, what kind of ministry are you seeing unfold when you're out there on the road singing these songs?
Well, a lot of people say, they tell us like two things. One, that we're the first Christian band that they listen to or have listened to, which is kind of interesting.
Very common thread we've.
And really, the very first, like.
Yeah.
The gateway drug.
And the second would be, your music, your song, this song, put into words what I have always felt, but I've never been able to isolate or to explain, or understand. I don't know. I like that.
Yeah.
That like I don't know. Maybe that's our calling is like Mike said, like of just bringing that message to people for the first time that might have felt like an outcast. And we did a show here in Nashville recently at the Basement East, which is a club, and it was exciting. I mean, Mike's up there talking about the gospel, and I don't know, it just felt like we were really engaged with our city, our Judea, our with the people of this planet that Christ came to save. And if someone's listening to our music with these kinds of messages, like just being a safe place for other people is so important. And because you can go back and think about when you were a kid. I remember, trying to figure out who I was, dealing with things, even into adulthood. Like, who do you talk to about? Who do you just bring these kinds of things up to? Who comes to mind? Man, well, if nobody comes to mind, what am I doing that I could be that safe place for somebody? Like, I could be counted in those ranks for somebody else. Mm-hmm. And that, we all want somebody in our lives that we can do that with. Mm. And I don't know, I feel like that's just an important calling in ministry, in our faith, in the church. Because there's so many hurting people, not just outside the walls of the church, but in the church. And it can feel like you can't bring that stuff up sometimes, a lot of times in church.
I was talking to a buddy who's in a hard rock band, and he said, it's interesting, in the hard rock scene, you can admit that you're broken as long as you're just like, I'm broken, so what? Then that's cool. And it's on the flip side, in hard rock, you need to act like you're unbreakable. You're just untouchable. Nothing gets under your skin. Those are our temptations, human. Either close yourself off and become proud and don't let things get to you, or wallow in your despair. And the gospel undermines both of those things. It says no matter how strong you are, you still need a savior. So you're actually weak. And no matter how weak you are, Jesus went down to hell to lift you up out of that. So the gospel robs us of the right to be really proud, and it robs us of the right to stay despairing in our brokenness. And we build identities on those things. So letting Jesus come in and take that away from you. Like, I have a buddy who's a addictions counselor, and he says so many people he counsels, they don't want to get set free from their addiction because they don't know who they would be without that addiction. It's become who they are.
Jeez. Wow. So Jeff, with all this in the mix, how do you guys...
Let's do it.
How do you guys kind of weave this into your songwriting? What's that process like for you guys? I know you've written with some amazing co-writers on this record and probably past records, but what does that process look like when you're trying to capture such heavy, amazing, redemptive, challenging themes?
Yeah, it's a dance because we don't want to overgeneralize, because then the song doesn't quite mean that much to us, and we've like we've been talking about, we feel called to be a little more specific and be a little more personal in our writing, and at the same time, you don't want to be so specific you kind of shut people out because you're weaving this story together that's like, okay, bro, I don't know what you're talking about anymore, or I can't relate, or it's not poetic. Because there is a thing with crafting a song that there still needs to be some art involved and some poetry involved in to make it palatable, right?
Right, not just pure documentation.
Yeah. You don't want to just... Yeah, you don't want to be blunt and crass, because then it's quite distasteful.
Yeah.
We want to say something poignant, but the music is what delivers the meal, and it's the plate that delivers the meal, and it, it's a dance, and I feel like the last couple of years we've grown a lot through our own personal growth, and so that interacts with the band specifically. That we read this great book called Creativity Inc., the story of Pixar, and really just helped us understand, like, hey, you can bring an idea to a creative idea that's very personal to you, to a group of creatives. And if the environment is safe, like, you don't need to feel personally attacked when someone wants to critique that or expound on that idea.
They can shoot holes in the idea without shooting holes in you.
It's
Yeah.
good.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, because I think for the longest, it's so easy to say, I heard about the song and, well, that lyric, maybe leave the word monkey wrench out of the song because it doesn't really resonate. It's perfect. It's a perfect word. I love that word.
Soul.
Yeah, no, you go, oh, okay. What? Oh, maybe I'll try to find another word that would also be enjoyable for someone to listen to. So I don't know. It's you come at it with a lot of personally attached feelings and emotions, but you also kind of realize that you're working in a construct of a band, a group.
And you don't realize you're growing in it. I mean, we both were probably pretty offendable when we first started co-writing songs. And then now it's funny when we bring other people in who've never been in that environment. And then we just very bluntly, oh, that idea sucks. You got something better? And we forget that we've kind of done that so many thousands of times that we've learned to divorce our song idea from who we are. And
You don't want to be too agreeable. If you're too agreeable, it's like every first idea is not necessarily the best idea, and that's what sticks, Yeah. You got to be able to just throw it out there without feeling like someone's out to get you or against you.
Right. Well, you guys have been received at radio through the years, and despite the heavier topics, you've had some a great line of hits all these years. And as I've gone back through the catalog, just prepping for today's interview, I think you defy the criticism that so many people have of CCM music, that it's light and, Christianity light and watered down doctrine and all that. You guys have some depth and some amazing messaging that's coming out through the song. So thank you for that. I just want to take a moment and acknowledge that.
Thank you.
That there's such ministry, and I know that you're making a difference for a whole lot of people. So the new record, No Shame, new book. Mike, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Finding God's Plan for My Will, right? Did I get that?
Finding God's Life for My
life.
Will.
Okay, sorry, I didn't read it off the
as opposed to Will for My Life.
Yeah, there you go. It's good, man. It's a great book. Just a lot of great stuff here. How do you guys like to interact? I know you're big fans of social media.
Oh yeah.
Presenting your perfect self. How do you like to interact with your fans out there?
We present our perfect selves best through probably Instagram.
I would say if you're wanting to write me a message, write me a direct message on Instagram. For whatever reason, that is the one place I feel like it doesn't overwhelm me.
Are you just at Mike Donehey on Instagram, or is it under the band?
Yeah, and then we have a band account as well.
Cool. Jeff Owen, Mike Donehey. Hey guys, thanks so much for being here
Thanks,
today.
John. It was lovely.
Rich, man.
Hey, what a fantastic show today. I hope you caught all the value bombs that were dropped on this one and that you'll begin to immediately incorporate them into your songwriting. You can get even more valuable songwriting tools and inspiration when you join NCS membership. You can become a part of a growing community of songwriters from around the world and tap into some of the most powerful resources available to step you up in your songwriting destiny. Check out NCS membership now at NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com and get ready for some exponential power to help you fulfill your call to write. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.